I wanted to make a video talking about the idea that I think we have a lot more control over our lives than we sometimes realize. I think it's possible for us to change our lives. I think it's possible for us to do what we want to do. And when I say do what we want to do, I don't mean on a whim. I don't mean to say that like you can just wake up one day and then all of a sudden be living in the Bahamas. That's not what I'm talking about. Rather, what I mean by that is I think that if you have a goal, I think that if you have something that you want your life to become, then I think that if you work hard towards it, then I think you can achieve it. I think it's really easy to get overwhelmed by the state of the world as it currently is. And I'm sure that's always been the case. You know, there have always been bad things going on in the world. But it feels like now, due to the internet, we are constantly being shown what is going on in other parts of the world. We are constantly given reasons to be afraid and to be fearful of the future and what it may hold. I think that there are a lot of major threats that seem to be looming on the horizon. I think that sometimes it can feel like you're drowning, and each and every day it just feels like there's another bucket of water being added on top of you. But all in all, despite that, I still think it's possible to make changes in your life. I still think it's possible to accomplish what you want to do. I still think it's possible to become who you want to be. I think it just takes a lot of work. I think that you can attain all of your goals. I think that you can become exactly who you want to be. I think that it just requires a lot. I think that it requires a complete reordering of priorities and objectives and life goals. Sometimes you start chasing a goal and you realize that it's not even what you wanted in the first place. But I think it's possible to achieve your dreams. And I don't mean that in some fairy tale kind of sense. I'm not ignorant to the struggles of reality. And oftentimes I think that whenever we talk about chasing our dreams, I think that it can feel a little childish and stupid. I think it can feel naive sometimes to even phrase it like that. You know, oh, I'm chasing my dreams. Oh yeah, how cute. But really, like I said, I think that we have a lot more control over our lives than we might realize. But the thing is that there is a cost to everything. And there's this idea that you see a lot in stories about magic, whether it's like a John Constantine story or a Doctor Strange comic or something like that, where anytime someone uses magic, there is always a price to be paid. If you want to reorganize reality or play tricks on people or something to that extent, you always have to pay a price. And by that same logic, I think that if you want something in your life that you don't have, I think there's always a price to be paid. And usually we just call that work. Usually if you want to accomplish something, you just have to put a lot of time and effort and energy into it. But certain goals require more than others. Certain goals require you to give up other goals. Again, there is always a price to be paid. There's a saying I heard once that you can have anything, but you can't have everything. And this is something that we know just from experience, I think. How many of us have spent tens of thousands of dollars on a degree, not to mention the years and the time that you put towards that? And hopefully you're better off than you were whenever you first started school. Speaking personally, I'm happy I studied English. I'm happy that I got the degree I got. I think I learned a lot, and I think it was really beneficial to me just as a person. But there's a lot that I could have done instead of getting a degree. And while I don't think you need a degree to be a writer, I think that for me, my experience getting a degree helped me. I think I definitely became a better writer and author because of the experiences I had. Part of my journey in becoming an author was going to college, and that's a big price to pay. It's one that we expect people to pay readily, and it's one that many of us pay readily, but it's a big price to pay. 4 years, thousands of dollars down the drain, you're in debt. It's a big price to pay, and let's not sugarcoat it. And I think that applies to just about anything in life. I think that you can have a lot of what you want, but there's always a price. And I think that in order to accomplish bigger goals, there are bigger prices to pay. There are bigger sacrifices that must be made. Sometimes whenever I shoot a video, it's for other people, sometimes it's for me. And this is one of those videos where it's for me. I can't help but feel that I'm not living up to my own expectations. And there are a lot of cool things I've done. There are a lot of awesome things that I'm really proud of, especially on this channel. There are a lot of videos I've made that have helped people, and I'm grateful for all the kind comments I get, and I'm grateful that my videos have helped you if they have. But for me personally, it just feels like I'm not doing as much as I could be doing. There's this image of me that appears in my head sometimes, this ideal version of me. And some people say I'm being too hard on myself. Some people say I expect too much from myself, and that's probably true. But the fact of the matter is that I know that I should be closer to that ideal version of me than I actually am. There are things that I need to give up in order to achieve that next level. There are things that I need to sacrifice in order to move up and to become closer to that ideal version of me. And the crazy thing is that they're not even like major sacrifices. Like I don't have to lose an arm or some crap like that. No, really, it's like, in order to become closer to the ideal version of me, I need to just be on my phone less. I need to stop wasting time in crappy ways, and I need to spend it in other better ways. And whenever I talk about better ways to spend my time, I'm not even talking about productivity necessarily. I'm just thinking that like I would rather be playing games than spend time on Instagram. Like I've been playing the Elden Ring DLC, and that crap's a lot of fun. Like that's really fun. And it's like, in order for me to become bigger and like put on more muscle, I need to stop eating out. And there are a multitude of other things that I could be doing better. And I'm sure that you probably feel the same way about yourself and your experience. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't, maybe you're perfect. And maybe you're perfectly content with where you are, and that's cool. But there's this feeling that I have that I could be doing more than I am, and I would be happier because of it. I've kind of wasted this last week, it feels like. I'm not really happy with how I've spent my time. I'm not happy with how I've spent my energy. And I have big ambitions. I'm the most ambitious person I know, for better or for worse. If you want to know what kind of person I am, I'm the kind of guy that makes a YouTube channel and then just makes random videos about whatever. And sometimes I feel like if I only stuck to one category, like if I just focused on horror, part of me feels like I would be bigger. But I also feel like I would be a lot more unhappy. I think that if I cut off all the other parts of myself, then I would just not be satisfied with the channel. And part of me has wondered also about giving up writing and just making YouTube videos, but I know that wouldn't make me happy. And vice versa, I kind of like making videos at this point. It's kind of weird, but I kind of like it. And I know that if I gave that up to focus solely on writing, then, you know, that wouldn't make me happy. But there's this feeling I have that I can accomplish all of my dreams and I can make everything happen that I want to happen, but only if I'm willing to make the sacrifices. I think I can become a published author within the next, 3 to 5 years easily, but I just have to like not be on social media so much. I think I can make a lot more cool crap, but I just have to record whenever I have it in mind, which is what I'm doing now. I've gotten better about that. I have notebooks that are filled with ideas for videos, and then I just didn't film them. I didn't film them when the time was right. And so the ideas passed, but the thing is that ideas come back to you. Things come and go, things come in waves and seasons and so on. But I can't help but feel that I'm wasting so much time doing nothing. And again, whenever I'm talking about wasting time, I'm not even talking about video games, dude. I'm talking about just like doing nothing, or like doing things that like actively hurt me. I'm referring to not writing whenever I have the chance. I'm referring to not taking full advantage of my social opportunities, or just any opportunities, I guess. But I think I can have everything I want. I think I just need to change. And like I keep saying, like I keep reiterating and repeating myself, I think I'll be happier if I do so. And that's the craziest part, is that these changes I'm talking about, these sacrifices I'm talking about, they're sacrifices that I should be willing to make. And for me, it should be a no-brainer, really. It's like, okay, you can either make another video, or you can just waste a bunch of time on social media. It's like, okay, you can be writing another story, which is good, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to release that creative energy in that way. Or I can like look at memes that I don't really care about. So really, I think we all have dreams, and we all have even ambitions, and we all have aspirations and things that we want to become. And I think that we can actually have them, but you just have to work towards it, and you have to sacrifice. And this is nothing new. This is something everyone knows. But like I said, there are some videos that are for other people, and there are some videos for me. And this is one of the ones for me. I know I could be doing more. I know that I can have everything I want, but only if I make the required sacrifices. So I think I'll conclude this video by retelling a story I read. The story goes something like this. A ghost one day appears in the middle of a village square. People gather around waiting for the ghost to say something, and finally the ghost speaks. "I will bring you good tidings one day in the future," the ghost says. And then he vanishes, and the people start talking, and they start wondering, like, what is the ghost going to say in the future? What is the good news that the ghost is going to bring? So then the village slowly divides into two groups. And the first group of people just becomes happier and happier and happier. They know that the ghost will come one day, and so they are going to spend their time as best they can. So they become more educated, they become wiser, they become fitter. They become everything they want to be. And then the second group of people, they become more miserable as they're waiting for the ghost. They become more unhappy and more disappointed with their lives. Each day that passes that the ghost does not come, they go to bed disappointed and angry. They want the ghost to show up already and just tell them the good freaking news. And then finally, after who knows how many years, the ghost shows up in the middle of town one day, and he waits for the people to gather around. And all the ghost says is, I bring you good news, and the good news is this: that your lives are yours. And the first group of people, the people who strive to make their lives as good as possible, they cheer, they celebrate. And the second group of people, the ones who let their lives slip away and let everything fall apart while they were waiting for the ghost, they of course are disappointed and they're angry. They didn't do anything with their lives, and so they're miserable. And ever since reading it, this is a story that I find myself thinking about every now and then. I think your life is what you make of it. And I'm not saying that accomplishing your goals or whatever else is easy, because it's not. I'm not saying being where you want to be is easy. I'm not saying that some people don't have it easier than others, because I think that's freaking true. But really, I do know this, that you won't be where you want to be unless you actively try. I don't think you can become who you want to be unless you make the proper sacrifices necessary. So I bring you news. Your life is yours. Make of that what you will. Good news, bad news, you decide. So anyways, thank you for watching. I'm going to bed now. Have a nice night. Bye.